It is the cause. It is the cause, my soul. Let me not name it to you, you chaste stars. It is the cause.
I fought a holy wars. I've held the devil's sword. I've walked on wretched fields of blood and blows, so I could never see myself in heaven's beams, to dance from all my sins, to be at peace.
In the play, the amount of racism Othello is dealing with is substantial. For example, when Iago and Roderigo wake Brabantio, Desdemona's father, from a bad dream in Act 1 and tell him about the secret marriage, they provoke Brabantio by comparing Othello to animals. They refer to Othello as an old black ram who is topping his white ewe, a devil who is making a grandfather of Brabantio, a Barbary horse, a beast, a lascivious Moor. The bad dream and animal imagery show the ideology of this color prejudice society where white people think they are better than black people, where they think Othello is not equal to the white characters because Othello is black. The tragedy is that Othello himself has also adopted this ideology. For example, when Brabantio discovers that Desdemona is not at home and goes to arrest Othello, Othello says he's already been sent for by the Duke and cannot be arrested by Brabantio. He doesn't say he hasn't done anything wrong, or he's a noble prince, or he's the general of the army. He says he can't go to jail because he's on his way to the Duke. You're going to work and someone wants to arrest you. You don't say, sorry, I can't be arrested because I'm on my way to work. Well, you say, why do you want to arrest me? Othello says, sorry, I can't be arrested because the Duke needs me. At the Duke's council chamber, the Duke asks Othello to take control of the army and fight the Turks, because no one knows the region better than Othello. Brabantio interrupts and accuses Othello of stealing Desdemona. He tells Othello that no one can believe that Desdemona has run away from home to marry a dirty black man. He calls Othello sooty, a thing who Desdemona would be scared to look at. He says anyone would agree with him that Othello must have used some kind of sorcery to trap Desdemona. Damned as thou art, thou hast enchanted her, for I refer me to all things of sense. If she in chains of magic were not bound, whether a mate so tender, fair, and happy, so opposite to marriage that she shunned the wealthy curled darlings of our nation, would ever have to incur a general mock, run from her guardage to the sooty bosom of such a thing as thou, to fear, not to delight. Judge me the world if 'tis not gross incense that thou hast practised on her, with foul charms abused her delicate youth, with drugs or minerals that weakens motion. I'll have it disputed on. 'Tis probable and palpable to thinking. I therefore apprehend and do attach thee for an abuser of the world, a practiser of arts inhibited, and out of warrant. Lay hold upon him. If he do resist, subdue him at his peril. The Duke sends for Desdemona. She arrives and confirms her love for Othello. Desdemona says she admires Othello's military virtues. She says, I saw Othello's visage in his mind. She's seen Othello's true face when she saw Othello's mind and ideas. She's being nice here, sure, but she's also being racist. Desdemona is saying that she knows Othello is black and inferior, but she doesn't mind because she likes Othello's ideas. Does she have to use racist language to communicate with the racist society? Or she's the product of the same society, and she thinks it is okay that Othello is inferior because she's so perfect that she can see into Othello's mind.
But my love you have shown me what evil is profoundly. The things you've done so quietly, how wicked can you be? I'm the fool in this game you play. How did I never know the truth? I thought I fell in love with love, but darling, you're just the devil's work of art.
Do Desdemona and Othello fall in love? Let's try answering this question using the theory of affect. Our memories make our identities. Some memories and experiences, for example, relate to our socio-economic backgrounds. Change the background and the person will have different memories and experiences. Two French philosophers, Deleuze and Guattari, argue that these memories make the content of our bodies. They don't use the term body, though, to refer only to biological bodies, that is, the flesh and blood people. A body can also be a political perspective or a book. For example, me, the flesh and blood woman you see here, or the play, Othello. Deleuze and Guattari believe that sometimes when two bodies meet, the meeting creates energy. They call the meeting a collision and the energy affect. The energy is produced when you can relate to another body. That's when a book affects you, for example. The play Othello has affected many people from different walks of life, places, races, and ages, because Shakespeare writes about human emotions and experiences. We are affected for different reasons, though. You change the memories of the reader, the filter through which they see the text, and they come up with a different interpretation of the play. For example, my interpretation of the play relates to my disadvantaged background, my poor background growing up being rejected and isolated. The play Othello affects me when I see the isolation of Othello, when I see the desire of Desdemona to be the perfect savior, the perfect wife, because I have had those experiences. The collision, in other words, me reading the play, brings back all my memories triggered by what I see in Othello, what I see in Desdemona and what I see in their relationship. The anger, the upset, the thrill, the shock, all these emotions are effects that are produced in the collision between the content of my body and the content of the play. The effect is the result of this collision and the reason I'm making this film. Do Othello and Desdemona become each other's content? Affect is produced when one body or parts of a body is incorporated into another body, when a body enters the zone of proximity of another body. When does love happen, for example? One person changes and expands their body in line with the reservoir of the memories of the other person and their ways of life and all the events that have shaped them into who they are. In line with the ways through which they view the world and relate to it, the ways in which they relate to others. Nobody can change and expand in their collision with everybody. The content of a body determines what bodies have the potential to collide with your body to increase your effect, while the content of a body determines what bodies have the potential to make a successful collision. Their energy, that is, their effect, changes according to the intensity of the collision. Now, let's see if Othello and Desdemona collide in the play. Othello the Moor is a black African prince, a professional soldier, a general in the Venetian army, with little experience of women. These adjectives, titles, and experiences, or the lack of them, form Othello's content. And what is Desdemona made of? Desdemona is a beautiful white woman who is wanted by all eligible noble bachelors in Venice, yet she has rejected them all. She is not afraid to reject his father as well, and secretly marry a black man who is referred to as the devil. The racism Othello is subjected to is in the reservoir of his memories and the events that have shaped him into who he is. Can Desdemona identify with Othello's body of experiences? Desdemona and Othello do not have equal power. When two people become the content of one another, the exchange is equal. There is no equality of power in the relationship between Othello and Desdemona. Desdemona's reasoning that she doesn't see Othello's face is nice, but at the same time suggests that she agrees with her father that Othello is sooty and scary and a thing. Does Desdemona's logic help Othello trust her, to open up to her, to make himself vulnerable in the relationship with her? The big problem is that the racism Othello is facing has forced him to metaphorically put up walls as a coping mechanism, to be mentally and emotionally safe. This is symbolized by the fortification he checks on early in Act 3. A mental fortification to block people out, to close himself off from others, to protect his emotions and feel less pain. This is the first reason that Othello and Desdemona do not collide, or cannot collide. Their meeting is superficial, on the surface. They brush against each other and continue their own separate path They never become the content of each other. Another problem is that Desdemona is also helping Othello build those walls by being racist. When Othello is dying from broken heart, confusion, insecurity, and jealousy, Desdemona thinks Othello cannot be jealous because he's black. Who he? I think the sun where he was born drew all such humors from him. The irony is that even Emilia, Desdemona's lady-in-waiting, tells her that Othello is being jealous. But Desdemona refuses to believe it because of a stereotype that black people cannot be jealous. She's again echoing her father that a black person is a thing and not a human with emotions. What does Desdemona see in Othello? She falls in love with Othello's stories of bloodshed and masculinity. We know this when Othello says, "She loved me for the dangers I had passed, and I loved her that she did pity them." Desdemona is a strong woman in a society that does not allow women to be heroes. She's so strong that she's not afraid to reject her father and follow a strong professional soldier with stories no other man has in Venice. On the other hand, Othello has just met the first woman he kisses. Completely new to the world of women, he is attracted to a white woman's acceptance. A woman who may be the passport to the white society. Othello's position in this white society is so vulnerable that he himself knows he has no chance of survival unless he's needed. He's thrilled, of course, but unsure why this woman is submitting to him. He doesn't even need Iago to tell him fabricated stories about Cassio and Desdemona. He's already alarmed, already looking for signs of betrayal. The climax of the play is when Iago uses Othello's cultural position against him, that he's an outsider. He tells Othello that he himself is an insider, that knows the Venetian culture, that the Venetian women cheat and hide it from their husbands. He says this is common in Venice, and Othello doesn't know it because he's an outsider. I know our country disposition well. In Venice, they do let God see the pranks they dare not show their husbands. Their best conscience is not to leave it undone, but keep it unknown. The cultural difference that Iago uses massively contribute to Othello's confusion and insecurity. Iago tells him all Venetian women are cheaters. What can Othello say to this? He doesn't even know women, let alone white women. After this moment, we see Othello's confidence is completely shattered. He thinks he's the wrong race. Happily, for I am black, and have not those soft parts of conversation that chambers have, or for I am declined into the vale of years. Yet that's not much. She's gone. I am abused, and my relief must be to loathe her.
So now I'll pave a way to see that you will pay, for I see another's kiss on your face. Till death will do us part. You say without a doubt, oh how sweet love can be poisoned by the dark.
Desdemona dies while holding power over Othello, but choosing to submit for the promise she's made that she'd be a good wife to Othello. A devotion to goodness of which Iago has been aware of right from the beginning when he says she's framed as fruitful as the free elements. He's saying that she's naturally as generous. And you know what Iago does? He says, so I will turn her virtue into pitch, and out of her own goodness make the net that shall enmesh them all. Iago does abuse Desdemona's commitment to her own promises, and that does enmesh them all. But that doesn't mean the power Desdemona holds over Othello is little. Even her lady-in-waiting, Emilia, a woman with a lower social status than Desdemona, holds immense power over the Black Othello. This is evident when Emilia, in the final scene in front of Othello and everyone else, says Desdemona was too fond of her most filthy bargain, referring to the marriage to a black man. Being the product of the idea that black people are not equal to white people makes it impossible for Desdemona and Othello to fall in love with each other, to become the content of one another. Even Othello is the product of this ideology. Iago knows that too. When Emilia asked Iago if he had told Othello his wife was unfaithful, Iago says, I told him what I thought and told no more than what he found himself was apt and true.
And now you made a beast out of a man who once believed that his love will replace his sins with peace. Oh, now how can he ever be free? I'm the fool in this game you play. How did I never know the truth? I thought I fell in love with love, but darling, you're just the devil's work of art. I'll somehow mend my broken. My